I'll go for once, the solution part, and then we'll proceed, okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
And third one we didn't get that.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Third one.
Gopika, you were saying something?
Yes, ma'am.
Third
The
one.
third question we didn't get the solution.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
This one. This is solution 3. How would you get it? We know that our problem was this. Okay, this was the utility function, right? So we need to replace this x2 because that is the form of quasi-linear utility function. And this quasi-linear utility function, how you identify? Because this is root here, and this function has a non-linear property too. Okay, so here we have this and plus x2. So x2 would be the function of x1 as we already have discussed. So what you will do, m is equals to p1 x1 plus p2 x2, and then you would find the value of this x2. Okay, so this x2 value you will replace. You'll replace, and then you will maximize the utility. Fine, the maximizing utility in the same way, you are maximizing only the commodity x1. So did you get this value? Gopika, Shivani, did you get, not Shivani, Gopika?
No, ma'am.
Ma'am, up to this m is equal to
So minus P1 by P2 you'll be taking, and then this value 3 by 2 multiplied by x1's power minus 0.5. And then this is giving you, just simplifying it, and this is giving you x1's value 3p2 divided by 2p1 and the whole square we have. Now, just you need to do what? This you got here, the x1's demand function, okay? Why? Because the x1's demand function is free from other effects. So here we have this x1's demand function, and then you'll just substitute this thing in your budget constraint. So here we have, this is the value of x1. We have p1 x1 plus p2 x2 as a budget constraint. So this is the value of x1 now. Okay, so this you have replaced, and then you have got this. You just simplify it and you'll be getting this value. So what value you got it, Gopika?
And actually, I was not knowing how to proceed it.
Oh, okay. So did you identify the functional form?
Yes, ma'am. I was having doubt whether it is quadrilinear or the perfect substitute.
Okay, no, because of non-linear property, you should have identified it. This, that is the quasi-linear preferences. Okay, so if you will identify that, you can easily solve it, and then this would be the answer. And then where we have here the solution one, okay, the solution one of this problem, the individual has this utility function. I hope this you all have cleared it. Okay, so we just go through very quickly because we have the preferences like this. So x1 plus 3x2, this will be equals to x2 plus 4x1. Why this is so? Because minimum was written in your utility function, which is showing that it is the form of perfect complements. Okay, so both of the functions would now be equals to each other. So this gives you x1 is equals to 2 by 3, and this is the x2. So p1 x1 plus p2 x2, that would be equals to again m, because it is our budget constraint. Here we got this value of x1. Still, this is not the demand function. I'm mentioning because in quasi-linear function, you got the demand function immediately for the x1. The reason, because the x1 is, independent from many of the things, like, so that is why here we don't consider this is a demand function. This is just for simplicity. We have got from the minimum of both you require, and then the value of x1 would be required, or the x1 would be the function of x2. Similarly, x2 would be the function of x1. So here we don't have a relationship. Only x2 is the function of x1. So both are the function of each other. So that's why we do need to reach of the demand function for both. So this is your budget constraint, and in this x1 you will write the value of this, and similarly you will get the value of this. Further you simplify it, and you will get the value of this x1, and same way you'll put the value of this x2, and you'll be getting this demand function. Okay, so here this is the money income which is given to you. So based on that, you just put your values, and you'll be getting this 20 and 30. So how many you have got this answer? Shivani, did you get this answer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Gopika,
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Varun,
Yes, ma'am. I also got it.
Abhishek, and Dharmesh.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, I
Okay.
got it.
Then we'll go for the solution two. This problem two was, let someone have a utility function this. Okay, that is also revealing a Cobb-Douglas preferences. And these Cobb-Douglas preferences we can also solve with the same way that we do with the ordinary demand function. Okay, so the same way we'll be taking this ordinary demand function, the Lagrangian function. So here I'll put what this variable function here, and then you store your budget constraint in the lambda. Okay, so this gives you the three condition which is based on the first order condition with respect to x1, x2, and this lambda. Okay, then further you get this, substitute the value which you will be getting from this p1 by p2, which is actually what your MRS. Okay, then you just replace this value in your this, and then finally you'll be getting the value of this x1. Okay, sorry, from this itself you got this x1, and then you put it in your budget constraint. This is the budget constraint, so you put it in your budget constraint, and then finally you'll be getting this x1 value and this x2 value. So you all have got this value, the x1's demand function and x2's demand function, and the ratio of prices. I've seen the answers of all of you. The ratio of prices was also correct, that was 1:5. Okay, so hope I receive about from the Abhishek, Shivani, and this Gopika. So what about others? This Dharmesh and Varun, whether you got it or not.
मैम मेरी मिस्टेक थी पर मैंने ठीक कर लिया था पूछकर, मतलब थोड़ा गलत था.
Okay, so now you are clear about it, how to do
Yes,
it?
ma'am. Yes,
मैम
ma'am.
मैंने मैम मैंने डिफरेंट किया थोड़ा, मतलब मार्जिनल
Huh.
यूटिलिटी निकाल के भी सॉल्व
No
कर सकते
issue,
हैं क्या?
no issue. That is also the acceptable. That is also the alternative approach that can also be done. But because you follow the ordinary demand function for all Cobb-Douglas preferences, we do follow the same ordinary demand function. So you can follow the Lagrangian. Even Lagrangian can be followed in other preferences too. Okay, even perfect substitute, even
ओके
you
मैम.
can follow it in quasi-linear. But to identify and to solve this problem, you should understand first of all the functional form, and then only you can solve it. So that's why I do follow a different way of solution. So for Cobb-Douglas, you can always opt this Lagrangian. Fine.
ओके.
Okay. So I am now stop sharing this. I will go for a theoretical aspect. Fine. So now we'll go for a theoretical aspect. We already have seen the grammatical approach of this indifference curve or the Hicksian and substitution effect, I would say. That we will be having another recap of it. Probably you have done in your microeconomics one, and probably in the microeconomics two also, because when I was taking your classes for the microeconomics two, then I have given you some idea about it. So I hope you all remember it, but we'll go with it again. Okay. So fine. We have this Hicksian and Slutsky substitution effect with us. We know that what are the major differences, but still I would tell you the Hicksian substitution effect, as in the last class we discussed, like that is the compensated demand function. Okay, that is the compensated demand function. So compensated demand function says that your utility would remain constant. Obviously, there is any change would occur in the prices in the economy, then a consumer would like to remain on the same utility curve. And the reason behind it, a substitution effect. Okay, so that's why we actually calculate, or digrammatically, that is the Hicksian substitution effect. Then Slatsky is also talking about a substitution effect in the same way, but the difference between the Hicks and Slatsky is, for Hicks, you are remaining on the same utility curve, but for Slutsky, you are actually shifting on the higher utility curve or the higher indifference curve. Okay, so in Slutsky, your utility would not remain constant, though in Hicksian analysis, your utility would remain constant. So, but another way, the Slutsky is actually following, the shift in the indifference curve in a two different ways. But the Hicksian case, there is a less shift in the indifference curves you would find. So, with the diagrammatical approach, you would be actually clear what is, the way of deriving the demand curve, which is the ordinary demand curve, and also this compensated demand curve. So we would proceed with the Hicksian. So first of all, we'll be taking the case of price of commodity X declines for the normal goods. Okay, so normal goods you can consider both ways, and I'm approaching here the X commodity is a durable good. Okay, that's a luxurious good. So if the price of X is declining, okay, the more of consumption X would take place. Then we would start here with this black budget line. Okay, this black budget line is indicating that we have here this E1 point. Okay, this E1 point and this IC1. Oh, this IC1 is a blue IC1 which shows initial indifference curve with an initial bundle of consumption. This initial bundle of consumption, that is the E1. It means consumer would feel more satisfied with the consumption of these two combinations of goods, this much of X and this much of Y. Now, why he is satisfied? Because this is the initial consumption on the given budget line. He doesn't know what is the change would occur. So before that only, his initial consumption is indicating this. Okay. So consumer feels that it is good for him and that's why he would like to be here. Now, even is indicating that more of Y you are consuming and less of X you are consuming at this stage. Fine. Now, what happens? There is a change in price. So the green line you would see here, there is a shift in prices. And the shift would occur as a rightward, and it shows that the commodity axis actually reducing. Oh, sorry, the price of commodity axis reducing. Fine. So if this is declining, now the consumer do what? The immediate thing would happen. That is what? There is a fluctuation from the consumption from E1 to E2. As I assume this commodity axis the durable good. Okay. So here the consumer would like to consume more of X. Fine. So from E1 to E2, the consumer will consume more of X. Fine. And the same time, the Y is getting declined. So here, more of both is not being done. Fine. So E1 to E2, the shift is taking place, and which says that the X commodity you are consuming more. Now, from E1 to E2, actually, what is happening? This is the substitution effect. There I have written, this is the substitution effect. So from this E1 to E2, I would write this is a substitution effect. Now, from this E2, okay, the consumer would realize that because of the prices of access being declined, their real income is now increasing. Okay. So now they can, consume more of apps. So that is why their real income is now more. And because of that effect, the consumer would like to shift on the higher indifference curve. Okay. So that orange one is just an effect of the income. Fine. So E2 and E3, this gap is basically your income effect. Okay. Both are the right word. It means going positive in the direction when the arrow is towards this. And then when I club this E2 and E3, then it gives you ICC, which is what the income consumption curve. And if I club this E1 and E3, it means both income effect and substitution. This is substitution effect and this income effect. If you club together E1 to E3, then it is giving you what? Price effect. Now that makes a difference over here. If you take here E1 to E2 effect, then it is giving you only the substitution effect. So based on this, you can see here this H demand curve. This H demand curve is just indicating Hicksian demand curve, which is exactly giving you a substitution effect. So you're just clubbing this E1 and E2 point. Now this E1 and E2 point is just indicating the relationship of in the consumption of X commodity with the price level. Okay, so as the prices have declined, okay, you're consuming more of X. Fine. So the more of X is being consumed now. So that is why this demand curve is what the downward sloping here. Downward sloping because more X at the price is low. So inverse relationship it will follow. So it's just for a demand curve which is a downward sloping and from E1 to E2. But when you take into account this E1 to E3 position, okay, so E1 to E3, this indicates what? That you are actually summing both substitution effect and the income effect, and that is why your demand curve would be a red one here. Okay, that is uncompensated demand curve, which is an ordinary demand curve, which is actually including both the effects. It means there is an E1 and E2 also, and then also you are indicating this E3 too. So all three effects are the part of it. Okay, is that clear to everyone? Why this U is flatter and this is H is more steeper. This is just because of these effects. Everyone, it is clear?
No, ma'am. Can you explain once more?
Okay, once again, I need to explain. Fine. See, we started with this budget line. Fine, this is a black budget line, which is the initial budget line. Fine. At the initial budget line, we actually are here at the even position. This is the initial indifference curve. This initial indifference curve where the consumer would like to remain on this consumption point. Okay. Here it shows that the consumer is consuming more of Y and the less of X. Okay. So that's why you want to be here at this even point. But if there is a change in the economy, the change is what? The prices are shuffled. The prices for the X commodity is now declining because it's a rightward shift. This green line is a new price line. So here this X commodity, okay, indicates that the prices are declined. So the consumption would now shift from E1 to E2. Now the question is, to reach from E1 to E2, what you will do? See, this green line is a new budget line. Okay. So what I will do, I'll draw the pivot of it. Okay, this pivot you can see, this is a parallel shift, and a parallel shift indicates the slope is similar. When the slope is similar, then the prices are same. So at E2 position, I have got a tangency of this pivot, which shows that the prices are new now. Okay, so here the X commodity price is less. This is not this black price line. This is a new price line. Now I got the tangency here, and this E1 to E2, this is now shifted. So this got what? The substitution effect. From E1 to E2, I would like to consume now more of X, rather this Y. Instead Y. So I am consuming more of X. So E1 to E2 is giving you what? This H. Okay. The green demand curve, which is only indicating the movement from E1 to E2. Okay. So that's why this curve is a steeper over here. So when I do add this E1 to E3, the gap, which is your price effect, which is your PCC, which is actually summing up substitution effect and the income effect. So from E1 to E2 and E2 to E3. So it means I would go with E1 to E2, okay, and then E2 to E3. So this way, this gives you a flatter demand curve, which is an uncompensated demand function. Now, basically what is happening, this is substitution effect. Now, reaching here, the consumer has realized that he now can, consume more of X. The reason, because his real income is now enhancing, because now you need to spend less on the X commodity because X commodity's price is less now. And the more of that you can consume. So that's why your real income is actually enhancing. So consumers' real income effect, you would see that is E2 to E3. That's why consumer would shift from a blue indifference curve to an orange indifference curve. That is a higher shift from E2 to E3. So consumer would arrive here. So this is your income consumption curve, and this purple one, this indicates that is the price consumption curve. So that is for the normal goods analysis. Is that clear to you now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now let's proceed for the price of commodity X is now increasing, not decreasing. Fine. So in that case, what will happen? See, again, this black budget line is your initial budget line. Fine. This is the initial budget line. Here, the consumer will like to remain on initial consumption on the orange indifference curve at even point. Okay. Now, this even point indicates what? That the consumer is consuming more of X, or you can say it is quite similar. Or you can start from this point also. This is up to you. But you need to show the more of consumption X at the initial stage. See in the previous diagram, I've shown the more of consumption at the initial stage of Y. Okay, then only your substitution effect would be more clear. So here also, if I would start even from bottom of this and below than this point, then further it is giving you more effect. But this is also okay. Okay, if you go with this initial point of consumption, that is the E1, this indicates that this much of the Y and this much of the Y and this much of the X you are consuming. Now, what happens? There is a change in the price line of commodity X. So this green line, which is actually happening a leftward shift, okay? This green line is shifting a leftward here, and this is indicating that the price of X is now increasing, okay? So from even, sorry, again, then what I will do, I'll take the pivot of it, okay? This pivot is a parallel shift. Find this parallel shift indicating that the slope of the prices would remain same. Okay, so the new prices now will be coming over here and will have a tangency here at this E2 point. Okay, so from E1 to E2, the consumer would like to substitute this commodity X to Y. Fine. So now consumer will like to consume more of Y because now my assumption for commodity Y is a durable good. And similarly, this X is also durable. That is why when the price is also declining, you will not consume more of it. So this is happening to all durable goods because of the elasticity approach. So if the price of this commodity is increasing, you would postpone the consumption of this commodity X and would you like to consume more of this Y. So that is why from E1 to E2, the substitution effect would take place. See, now the arrow is going leftward. So this arrow is indicating substitution effect here. So purple to this orange effect is the substitution effect. And in that case, if you would calculate the demand curve, what will be the demand curve for the commodity X from E1 to E2? That is the Hicksian demand curve. Can anybody tell me? For E1 to E2, what will be the Hicksian demand curve? The shape, it's a downward sloping or it's an upward sloping? Yes, anybody? Varun, can you tell me what will be the shape of the demand curve in this case? Varun?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, what will be the shape of demand curve? It would be upward sloping or the downward sloping?
Upward sloping, ma'am.
How upward sloping? Can you define me the relationship between price and axio?
What, ma'am?
See, the prices of X is now increasing. Okay, the green line is indicating what? The price of X is increasing.
Yes, ma'am.
So E1 to E2, when you shuffle your consumption, the consumption of X is increasing or declining here at this position.
Ma'am, declining, ma'am, declining.
Then what is the relationship between price and commodity X consumption?
Ma'am, it's reverse, ma'am. Ma'am,
Yes, it's inverse. And if it is inverse, then what will be the demand curve shape?
ma'am, downward sloping.
Yes, then how upward sloping? You are mentioning that it is the upward sloping. See, we need to see the relationship. Here, the initial budget line says that the E1 is your initial consumption. Fine, so you are consuming more of X. But at E2, you are consuming less of X. You are consuming more of Y. This triangle is indicating that the slope is, your consumption is tending towards the Y now. So that's why you are substituting. And this substitution effect is the Hicksian substitution effect. This is still downward sloping. Okay. Now, at this E2 position, the consumer would realize that because of the change in prices, now the prices are higher. So your income is, struggling now to get more of Y and more of X both. Fine. So in that case, your real income is declining and the consumer would come down from E2 to E3. So a lower indifference curve from orange to this blue one. So from E2 to E3, you would reach, and that's indicating your ICC curve, which is here showing that the real income is declining from E2 to E3. So this red one is ICC, and the combining these two effects, this E3 and this EVA, that is giving you a price effect, price consumption curve. Here, both of the effects are going leftward. See here the income effect, which is taking place over here. Sorry, the substitution effect, which is taking place from E1 to E2 and from, sorry, E2 to E3, that is your ICC or your income effect. So both are going leftward towards this direction. The reason behind it, your substitution effect could also be, reverse case, and also this income effect could be a reverse case. Fine. So because of everything is declining, of X price is increasing for a normal good. Is that clear to everyone? Shall I proceed further?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now we have price of commodity X declines. Sorry, I need to write here the Y. It is commodity Y now. Fine, so correct it. Price of commodity Y is getting declined for the normal good. So now what I assume, here we have two axes, the commodity X and this commodity Y. So I'm taking everything is now at this axis. So my initial budget line is this green. Oh, sorry, this black one. This is the initial budget line. And the consumer would like to remain somewhere here at this even position on this rate indifference curve. Okay, so his initial consumption point is this. That is the E1 here. Is that clear? That is the initial budget line, and the consumer will like to opt this position for his initial consumption. I'll tell you why consumer would like to opt this. The reason, because now you are assuming the commodity Y as a normal good. Okay, so commodity Y's price is declining, so initially you need to consume more of X. Okay, so if you will take this, then more of X you will consume and the less of this. So that's why consumer would like to opt this E1. Now what will happen? There is a change in price from black to, you would shift to this green. Okay, so black to, you're moving on this green one. Now this green shift is indicating that the commodity Y's price is declining. Okay, so from this to this commodity Y's price is declined. Now I will take pivot of it. Okay, this pivot I'll be taking, and this is indicating the slope is similar, and this further indicates that the prices are new at E2 position, which is following the tendency of this budget line. So that is why we have here this red indifference curve as, the another point of consumption. And this point of consumption indicates from even to E2, actually you're making a substitution effect. Okay, so at even you are consuming more of X, and here you are consuming more of Y, because you assume that the commodity Y is a durable good or it's a normal good. Okay, now further, because arriving at E2 point, you would realize that your real income is increasing because more of this commodity you can now consume, and that is why you will now shift from E2 to E3. Okay, so from E2 to E3 as you would reach, this is giving you income effect. So this blue line is your ICC, and from this E1 to E3 you can calculate this PCC. So see, this ICC is giving you this rightward change in the income effect, and even to E2, this is giving you a rightward change in your substitution effect. So both, if you will sum together, so from this point to this point, it is giving you price effect. Is that clear to you? Yes, students. Also difficult, or you're not getting it?
Still.
Yes, students. I think we have done it now. In micro
Yes,
2, I
ma'am.
also have given you idea about it. Or
Yes, ma'am.
then, so did you get it or not?
Yes, ma'am. We
Yes,
got
ma'am.
it.
Huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So everybody is clear about it.
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. So
Yes, ma'am.
we'll proceed further. I haven't changed this caption here. What I am writing, the price of commodity Y is actually increasing now. Fine. So the price of commodity Y is increasing. So here we have this budget line. This is the black one, which is the initial budget line. Fine. You consider, I repeat again, this is the case of commodity Y's price increasing now, not decreasing. Fine. So you correct it in your reference. And then see here, this is the budget line, and this budget line is actually indicating what? initial budget line where the initial consumption is taking place here at this E1. So again, my consumption would now tend to more of Y because my initial consumption relative to more Y, then only your substitution effect would be more clear towards it. So here, this initial budget line is indicating on orange indifference curve E1 as a initial consumption point. Now, what happens further? There is a change in the prices. So the price line now is shifting towards leftward. Okay, this is the leftward shift. And this indicating that the price of Y is now increasing. Now I'll take the pivot of it. Okay, this pivot will have a tangency at E2 position. Okay, so the consumer will shift from E1 to E2 position. Okay, so this is indicating substitution effect. Okay, and here consumer would realize that his real income is declining. So the consumer will come down from E2 to E3 position. That is the lower indifference curve. That is the red one here. So this is the effect of income, and this is the effect of your price from E1 to E3. So here you will find ICC, and here we have PCC. So both are the leftward effects, the substitution effect, and also this income effect. Now, in both cases, if you would see here, you will be calculating the demand curve for the commodity Y, and both cases will find the demand curve for the commodity Y will now be upwards, the downward sloping one in both the cases. Okay, is that clear to everyone? 4 cases we discussed. The price of commodity X is increasing. Okay, the price of commodity X is declining. The price of commodity Y is increasing, and the price of commodity Y is declining. And this is particularly showing what all the cases related to what normal goods. Any doubt in that? Students?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay, shall I proceed further or I should continue tomorrow? Tell me. Or it is clear to you? Yes, guys, tell me. Or you want to discuss it?
देख लो मैम.
It's clear?
Rest.
Yes, ma'am.
Completely.
Yes,
Very good. Very good. Very good. So should I proceed or I should go with, another form of it on tomorrow?
Or do
Tell me whatever you would like.
जैसा
देख लो
आपको
मैम.
ठीक
न्यू
लगे
Abhishek,
टॉपिक
I'm not
मैम.
able to hear.
जैसा आपको ठीक
What to
लगे
do?
मैम.
Acha, so I can continue also, na? But if it is not giving you much burden, that's what.
Yes,
नो
ma'am.
नो.
Okay, wait. Fine. So we'll go for now inferior good. So now price of commodity X is declining for the inferior good. Okay. So here the inferior good we all know was the difference between the given good and the inferior good. Inferior good shows that the relationship between the income and the consumption. Okay. So if your income is rising, you are actually consuming less of that commodity or vice versa. So that is the inferior good. When we do talk about given goods, then it is showing the relationship between the price and consumption. So price of such commodities are increasing, then you're actually consuming more of that commodity. So these two things are different. Sometimes we do compare these things with the same variable, so that is not okay. So we need to understand the inferior good says what and the given good says what. So to understand this, so first of all we'll be taking this initial budget line. Okay, so initial budget line will have, the optimal consumption point at the initial level, that is E1 position. Okay. Now, exactly what is happening here? Your price is declining for the commodity X. Okay. Now, from this E1, from this new prices, you will be taking the pivot of it, and this pivot is actually uh, will have a tendency at the E2 point. So from E1 to E2, the same thing is happening. That is what the Hicksian substitution effect. Okay, so your utility would remain same. You are on the same indifference curve, so that all things are similar here. So from E1 to E2, you would arrive. And this is giving you substitution effect. See, your substitution effect is taking place from this orange line to this black line. Okay, this whole is your substitution effect. Now what happens further? Because at this situation the consumer would realize their real income is increasing now. Okay, so their real income is increasing as the inferior good says the relationship. As your income is increasing, you like to consume those commodities which are inferior to you, okay, less in your consumption. So let's say if the commodity acts as inferior commodity, and the earlier you were using or consuming more of y and the less of x, and after taking place a substitution effect, you would realize because your income is now increasing and X commodity is because inferior good, you would like to consume it less. And that is why this consumer would reach from E2 position to this E3 position. Okay, so the consumer would arrive here at E3. And this E3 says that your income effect is going leftward. Okay, you see your income effect from black to this purple line. Okay, so that is the income effect. See, substitution effect is going in this direction and the income effect is coming in this direction. So both are the reverse, but your positive substitution effect, okay, is greater than the opposite income effect which is taking place over here. So that is the case of inferior good in this analysis. So what will be the demand curve for these cases, Abhishek? What will be the demand curve for this inferior good?
Upward sloping.
That's the problem. What I was mentioning, you cannot relate both as similar, these inferior good and this Giffen good. I told you that inferior good is only showing the relationship between income and consumption. Here, because you realize that your income is increasing now, and that is why you would like to shift on the higher indifference curve. So higher indifference curve is indicating that your income is rising. And at the same time, because your income and consumption of that commodity, which is an inferior, that is the inverse. So X commodities consumption is declining because your consumption was at substitution effect this much, okay, and now your consumption for X commodity is less. So you would reach from E2 to E3 position, that is showing only inferior good effect, okay, but doesn't show that your demand curve is upward sloping. The demand curve is showing the relationship between only price and commodities consumption. Okay, so here the price of the commodity, what is happening here? You see your initial consumption is this,
Yes,
your
ma'am.
initial consumption is this E1, and you're still consuming more of X at E3. You are actually comparing this E2 to E3. Fine. But substitution effect is taking place, that is after the change in price. But before change in price, at the black line, you were consuming this much of the X. And if you compare this E1 to E3, after change in the prices, you are consuming actually more of X. So as prices are declining for the commodity X, you are actually consuming more of X. You see, this relationship is followed in the same way. So that is why my demand curve for this commodity X is downward sloping, not the upward sloping. This point is exactly, lie between E1 to E2, is somewhere between. If it is going, leftward or the backward, then we can consider, yes, it is an upward sloping curve. But in this case, because it is just middle point or somewhere at the middle situation of this E1 and E2, then we always consider your demand curve is the downward sloping curve.
But ma'am, if income effect is greater than substitution effect, then ma'am.
But we are not comparing in income in our, as a variable of the demand curve. The demand curve shows the relationship between the prices and X commodities consumption.
Yes, ma'am.
So
But
if
in
huh,
this case, if we take income effect greater than substitution effect, ma'am, then we see E3
substitution
point.
effect is greater, income effect is smaller here. You
Yes,
see,
ma'am. But
Substitution effect, how you derive your demand curve, the one of the component which is important, that is the substitution effect. So because your substitution effect is greater than your income effect, that is why your demand curve is downward sloping curve.
yes, ma'am.
Then
But ma'am, can you
if
proceed
your
with
income effect is greater and substitution effect is smaller, then only your demand curve would be upward sloping. But here in this case, your substitution effect is greater, okay, from this
okay.
orange line to this black line, and your income effect is only take place between these two lines, two vertical lines, and that is why your substitution effect is greater. And the origin of the demand curve, which is a downward sloping, this is just because your substitution effect. But you are comparing here the three different positions. See here, this E1 is your initial consumption. Fine. The
Yes.
initial consumption shows that you're consuming this much of the X only.
Hmm.
Fine. But
Yes.
as your prices are changing, now the green price line, the pivot you have taken, and after the change in your income also, you're reaching on E3. This is your final point of consumption, the optimal
Okay.
point of consumption. Now, this optimal point of consumption is indicating that Y and also the X, both you are consuming more.
Yes.
Exactly from E2 to E3, whenever your income is rising, you actually would like to consume less X and a more of Y. But this is the comparison between E2 and E3 only. But before change in the price, you were at E1. And now E3 says that you're consuming still more of X. Inferior good doesn't mean that you are actually reducing the consumption of X commodity, even lower than your initial consumption bundle, because it is higher than your initial consumption bundle. That is why inferior goods demand curve is a downward sloping demand curve. Yes, still you have a query, Dharmesh?
Yes, ma'am.
Still you have a query, Abhishek, Dharmesh,
No, ma'am.
Gopika? Is there any doubt?
No, ma'am.
No doubts?
No, ma'am.
Okay, great. Now you would be more clear with the next slide. The price of commodity access declining for the given goods. Okay, see here what is happening. Your initial budget line is this. Okay, this is the blue indifference curve, and this is showing your initial consumption bundle, which is your E1. And this is also indicating more you are consuming Y and the less of X. Now, what happens as the prices are declining for the commodity X? So consumer would like to consume now with the substitution effect, this E2 at E2 point where pivot is taking place at the tendency of E2. So now you have a new prices at E2. Okay. So here, of course, E1 to E2, you have a substitution effect. It shows that X you would like to consume more. But if you follow the assumption that the X commodity is the given good, now if it is the given good, then it shows the relationship between price and commodity X. And what is my assumption? That the prices are for the X commodity is declining. So they have a direct relationship in case of given goods. So if price of X commodity would decline, okay, then the consumption of X commodity would also decline. So both will follow a direct relationship. So if there is a direct relationship in the price and the commodity X, then you will have an upward sloping demand curve. So upward sloping demand curve it is there. Then from E2, you actually would realize that you would like to consume more because your income is rising, because the price of access is now declining. But all of a sudden you realize that the commodity access given good for you, so you would like to consume it less even than your initial consumption bundle. See, from this black to this vertical orange line, okay, you were consuming this much of the axe at the initial stage. But from E2 to E3, when you shuffle this new indifference curve, which will have a tangency here at E3 position, which is giving you this line of vertical line of new combination of consumption. And this indicates now X, you are consuming this much only. Earlier, you were consuming at the initial position this much, and even after substitution, this much. But the actual, the optimal one is this one. So, why you would like to consume more? Because the Y is for you as a normal good, but the X is for you as a given good. So you would like to be here at this E3 position. And in such cases where we have a backward bending ICC curve, there you will always face an upward sloping demand curve because it shows the relationship between price and the consumption of commodity X or consumption of commodity Y. But here the consumption of commodity X is considered as a given good. And this also indicates from this substitution effect to from this E1 to E2, you are actually getting substitution effect. But from this point E2 to E3, you're getting income effect. So you see your negative opposite income effect is greater than your positive substitution effect. That is why your demand curve is an upward sloping curve here. Is that clear to you? Yes, guys, if you have any query in this.
Yes, ma'am.
It's clear?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now do one thing because some of you have still doubts in the inferior goods. Fine. So you read it today more on the inferior goods and then we'll continue about it, the Slutsky. And also one more thing I would like to tell you. We have seen the cases of inferior good and given good for commodity access either decline. Okay, both ways the commodity price is declining. So now I would like to see the reverse case, the price of commodity X is now increasing, okay, for the given good and also the inferior good. And same way for commodity Y also you need to do. Fine. So by today, you'll do all the cases of commodity Y and also the reverse case of commodity X. And this is especially for inferior good and given good you need to do. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Will it be done now? So by tomorrow, you all can see, you all can show it to me on the screen itself. Okay, one by one, I'll be checking. So everybody has to do it. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
fine.
Okay.
Okay, so for now, stop sharing. And if you have still any doubt, we can discuss. Or you want to read it. The Statsky will start tomorrow. And this was only about the Hixian. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, let's wind up. And tomorrow I'll be discussing on, first of all, these cases of given and inferior again for commodity Y and the reverse case of commodity X, and then we'll start off this sluts. Fine, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Fine.
let's make it over. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you, ma'am.